Welcome to Thursday, July 21st, 2022. This podcast brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Cowboy State Daily has more original Wyoming news content than any other news organization in the state. Check them out for their daily newsletter and their Facebook page. As we look at the end of the week here, heading into the tail end of the work week, it's going to continue to be very warm to hot. Thunderstorms are going to be bottled up mainly down into Colorado, Arizona, Utah, those areas, as high pressure is going to continue to dominate. That moisture is going to continue to produce thunderstorms, but it's bottled up moisture. It doesn't really have anywhere to go. Smoky haze, we'll talk a little bit about that. We're looking at some forest fire activity in northeastern areas of Idaho. It's called the Moose Fire, and that fire is going to continue to produce smoke at times over the northern and central Rockies as upper level winds aloft will bring it in from the northwest. Also, the fact that the forecast remains dry up there means smoke is going to continue to come on through. Now, monsoon moisture does surge northward this weekend, and we will see a pretty good uptick in thunderstorm coverage going further north in the central and northern Rockies this weekend. There's going to be a major weather pattern readjustment across the United States next week, and what this is going to do is kind of shift things around a little bit. It could end up being a really interesting weather pattern next week if you're a weather nerd, because we're probably going to see areas that have been cooler get hotter, areas that have been really hot get cooler, and there's probably going to be some severe weather at times as the weather pattern changes around a bit next week. Today's satellite photo continues to show the bottling up of the deeper subtropical moisture right here. This is where the moisture is the most deep, and this is where thunderstorms are happening. Now, it's good news. They're getting some thunderstorm activity in parts of North Texas and Oklahoma where they really need it. And here in northwest Mexico, far southern Arizona, some heavy rain with those thunderstorms there. But you see the red and the orange here. All of this air mass across the Corn Belt, across the northern plains and northern and central Rockies. Humidities are really low. The air is really dry, so you're just not going to get much in the way of thunderstorm activity. But underneath the gray here, there'll be enough humidity for afternoon and evening thunderstorms today. And here you can see on the satellite imagery where those showers and thunderstorms are in that deeper moisture. And part of this moisture, as we talked to you yesterday, is going to make a long trip like this and then come in, and some of it will be arriving by Saturday into Sunday. High pressure just west of the Four Corners region this morning. That's bottling up and shunting that moisture to our south. But as you see, as we go forward with this 500 millibar chart, you're going to notice that the weather pattern is going to start to look a little bit different. I want you to note up here along the north slope of Alaska, that is a pretty deep storm system for July up there. And this is one reason why things are going to get altered and changed up a little bit as we go into next week. Taking a look at the precipitable water forecast, you can see all that brown over Montana, Wyoming, the Pacific Northwest, and the greens down into the southwestern United States where the better moisture will be. That's where the thunderstorm action will be today. But by Friday afternoon and Saturday afternoon, things begin to shift. So this is by Saturday. So notice the arch of the deeper moisture going just like this. So this is going to reintroduce thunderstorms further north into Wyoming this weekend. And that moisture plume is going to be with us right on through the entire weekend and into early next week. So by Saturday, here's the thunderstorm coverage. This is where the thunderstorm activity will pick up the most on Saturday, wanting to be closer to the mountains. But I do think we're probably going to have more thunderstorms than this model is showing on the plains east of the divide as well. By Sunday, deeper monsoonal moisture is in place, a lot more blues showing up there. And then look at that. Thunderstorm coverage on Sunday really picks up. So if you're going to be headed into the high country this weekend in Colorado or Wyoming, especially, or Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, we've had some flash flooding incidents. We had a daily flash flood incident last week in northern Colorado, West Estes Park, due to flash flooding in burn scar areas from recent forest fire activity. Be careful. Do not camp at the mouth of a creek or a drainage or anywhere close to where a lot of these water flows can happen, because they can happen with little or no warning. And when we get this deeper monsoonal moisture in place, that's going to be a concern. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Now, this is the shift in the weather pattern we're talking about next week, and it's pretty darn significant. What we're seeing is a stronger low going across central Canada, going across the northern tier of the United States. And the big high that's been consolidated over the central parts of the United States kind of breaks off into two areas of high pressure. We're going to have some heat. You're going to hear about this in the news. It's going to get really hot in Washington, Oregon, and central and northern California underneath that ridge of high pressure. That part of the country has not had a hot summer at all, but that's about ready to change. Also, the southeast and the east coast of the United States, hot, muggy conditions will develop. But where the temperatures have been the hottest so far this month of July, which is in this area right here, this area is actually going to see an opportunity for a wind flow pattern coming out of Canada, dropping temperatures. Now, there'll be a battle between the heat here and the cooler air to the north, but there's a relief for the nation's midsection from the extreme heat that's been around here for the last several weeks. So you're going to get the heat on the coast, which means you're going to hear about it more on the news. But for the central part of the country, there's some relief coming next week. Look at these temperatures relative to normal, relative to the 30-year average by next Thursday. So you can see that green and the blue really bringing in that change in temperature. But look at the heat. This is the heat I was talking about in the Pacific Northwest into British Columbia, the heat along the East Coast, and then that stubborn heat down there in the south. But notice up there in Alaska, much below average temperatures up in Greenland. And this is what you'll see. You'll see patches where it's above normal, patches where it's below normal. It all depends on where you are, but there's a shifting going on to where the heat is now is going to be replaced by more temperate conditions, and where areas that are more temperate are about ready to get hot again. This is by next Friday. Look at those temperatures all the way down into the Texas Panhandle. So this is certainly going to be enough to take an edge off of heat in the central United States, and there is going to be shower and thunderstorm activity in those cooler air masses as well. Have yourself a good Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow.